This is the Spectre Performance Cold Air Intake in black, and it's going to be one of the most affordable ways to get an aftermarket intake system on your 2016 through 2019 Camaro SS. Now, the Spectre will offer a stealthy all-black construction for things like the tube, the filter, and heat shield, and can be used with or without a tune, all for the low to mid $200 price point. So in my humble opinion, this intake from Spectre is going to be for the Camaro owners out there who are more concerned with maybe saving a few bucks as opposed to going with something stamped with a big recognizable brand name that might offer a few more bells and whistles or features. Now, this can include things like different materials, maybe a more elaborate sealed airbox design, and things like that. Now, what the Spectre will do is deliver that open element or open filter design that will certainly add a little bit more growl to your 6.2 under acceleration, along with things like more throttle response, power, and torque, all at a very affordable price point. Construction-wise, the Spectre will deliver a very cool and very stealthy appearance thanks to the all-black components. Now, the tube itself here, that's going to feature a powder-coated black aluminum build, which will be great at reducing heat soak. Moving over to the heat shield, again, that is designed to help prevent the hot engine bay air from entering your filter. This guy is actually constructed from steel and given that same textured black powder coat as the tube for a very consistent look. Now, moving to the intake filter itself here, guys, and this is actually a synthetic dry filter, also in black. And the dry filter is going to be great because it's very low maintenance and will not require any oiling. Finally, guys, the Spectre will include all of the necessary hardware and couplers needed to complete the install and is backed by a 90-day warranty in case you run into any issues. Now, coming in just north of $200, the price point for the Spectre is going to be one of the lowest in the category, as we mentioned at the very top of this video, priced right in line with other more budget-friendly systems on site from companies like SR Performance. All right, last but not least, what do you say we switch gears and talk more about the installation? And I'm happy to say that if you have a basic set of hand tools and the slightest bit of mechanical know-how, you should be able to get this intake in place rather easily. Site's gonna go soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, maybe an hour of your time to get everything in place from start to finish. Now, to give you a better idea of what you're in for in the garage or driveway, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you need a ratchet, extension, 10 and 8mm socket, 12 and 10mm wrench, 2.5mm Allen wrench, diagonal cutters, and a flathead screwdriver. All right, today we're gonna be installing an intake on our Camaro. First, we're gonna watch a quick video to uninstall a stock one, then we'll come back here to install the new one.
So our first step is gonna be to disconnect our mass airflow sensor. So we have 2 T20 torque screws that we need to remove, and then we can just slide it right out of our tube. So now we can disconnect our crankcase fitting. So there's going to be a gray tab on the back. You push in. Pop right off like that. And then next, we have to disconnect this one-time use clamp. So we'll have to cut that off and then remove it. All right, now our next step is to loosen our clamp, and we can do that with an 8mm socket, and then we can lift this whole airbox out.
So before we get our intake into our car, we have to do a little bit of assembly. So we have our filter adapter with our mass airflow slot, a couple brackets, our grommet holders. So we'll all get this all on. So we're gonna start with our filter adapter. Now it's gonna slide in through the inside here. You're gonna get that gap and then turn it so that you see the two threaded holes right here and here. So we're gonna grab two of our longer bolts with flat washers. Just get those threaded in to hold it in place. Grab a ratchet, 10mm socket, tighten those down. So you see that we already have two mounting points for our grommet holders. We just have a third slot spot here. That's actually going to be our bracket. So the bracket is going to mount on the inside. You're going to have the long side going out. We're going to have a bolt with a washer. And on the back side, we're gonna have another washer with our locking nut. We're gonna go ahead and tighten this all down. So this is all 10mm hardware. So I'm gonna grab a ratchet, 10mm socket, and a 10mm wrench. Now you may need to adjust the position of this once it's in the car, but that's no big deal. Now for our grommet holders, you'll see that there's a threaded insert in them. We're gonna grab our smaller 10mm bolts with a flat washer, thread those in, ratchet, 10mm socket, and a 12mm wrench. You'll see two slots on the grommet. Go ahead and tighten that down. Then you go ahead and repeat that for the other two mounting locations. Last thing we need to do to our box here is install our trim. Now it's going to start here, go all the way across, come down around the curve, and stop here. So you see the trim, there's a slot in it. Just push that over, work it around. The corner definitely is a little bit harder. Just take your time. It may not sit all the way down on it. It'll be good enough. Bring that down. Just take our diagonal cutters and cut off the extra. So now we're going to get our air filter box in our car. So you see your grommets here. We're missing one. That's no big deal. Just make sure you have yours. We're going to set this down and seat it into our grommets. Get that lined up, and we can go ahead and actually get our air filter on now. So it's simply just going to slide in with our clamp over it, slide over our adapter, we're going to take our flathead screwdriver and tighten our clamp down. Take our flathead screwdriver and go ahead and tighten that clamp down. Next, we'll get our mass airflow sensor installed. So we'll get that lined up. Get our two supplied Allen bolts and our 2.5mm Allen wrench and tighten those down. So this intake actually deletes our sound tube. So you would take your diagonal cutters and cut off the one-time clamp here. Ours has already been done. So we're just gonna use a flathead screwdriver, loosen our worm clamp, pop this off. Now we have a cap that's supplied. This has Slide that over. This is pretty tight, so you don't need a clamp. Get that pushed on. Now we can get our intake tube in. So now we have our 2 couplers with our 4 clamps. I already have them set over. I'm gonna get one over each end of our tube here. And then get that in over our throttle body and our intake tube at the same time. Loosen these up a little bit, make it a little bit easier. So you can see I'm just putting on our filter adapter first. Definitely just fighting me a little bit. We'll get our tube in and over our throttle body. So I'm gonna grab my ratchet, extension, 8mm socket, tighten down our 4 clamps. While we're here, we'll just push our vent tube on till it clicks, and then tighten our last 2 clamps. And that wraps up our install of our Spectre Performance Cold Air Intake with a black filter, colored black for our 2016 to 19 Camaro SS. And remember, for everything Camaro, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.